Hey guys, Brisulph here, and with me in Texas is
Roundthewheel.
Jesse, who's the J in the title. Good work.
Well, you never know what people are going to use, so.
Yeah, fair enough. And joining me from the great state of Missouri.
I love that you actually pronounced it Missouri instead of Missouri. You're winning me over here. Missouri! It's
good. It's only been it's been 10 years of careful planning.
I know, right? Yeah.
Finally getting you on board.
You're finally infiltrating the system. It's me. It's Zoop, as you do know me. Zoop of YouTube fame. Zoop of IGN fame. If you want to read some really bad articles of mine. Zoop
or some mediocre guides.
Zoop of now Honest Gamers fame. I've only done one article, and I'll probably only do one article. That's up to Mr. Jason Vinner. But quick cheap plug because they do rock. www.honestgamers.com.
And I read that review, and it most assuredly did rock.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
I haven't read it, but I also know it rocks.
Well, that's because you're my little kiss ass. That's
pretty much, yeah.
You know I love you. You do.
And speaking of honest gamers, we will have to get Jason Venter on here.
We will. He is a treasure trove of knowledge. He's a wonderful guy.
He's a wonderful human being.
Yeah, he is.
He is a nice guy who is finishing last.
Yep. Well, as the saying does go, nice guys finish last. But you know what? It's so funny though. Because I go on Twitter and everything, and he constantly interacts with just the most esteemed professionals in the games journalism.
Yeah, I know it. You'll see him
they love that guy. I mean, they hold his opinion so high. It's no surprise. It really isn't. But at the same time, it just goes to show you that the people on the inside know the industry better than the people on the outside, and they cherish some of the best. And he is definitely one of the best.
Nice. So, what have you guys been up to? Real quick, we'll just cover what's going on in life since it's been a few weeks. Anything new? Anything happening?
Oh,
what's the cool, Daddy-O?
Just working, sleeping, pissing, shitting, all that stuff.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't think you've taken a shit since the last podcast. I think that you're lying.
How much cheese?
That's why my voice sounds like this. I'm just like it's coming out my pores.
Gotcha.
I love that we're like 3 minutes into this podcast and we've already had some horrible feces joke.
God.
Poopy, poopy, pee-pee. Welcome to the podcast. Anyway, how about you, Dave? Anything new? Anything going on?
I ended up maxing out my credit card for Christmas, and
yay!
Trying to avoid that.
That included buying my mom a Samsung S2 tablet or some shit. I know nothing about tablets, but it's what she wanted, and you never know when her last Christmas will be. So I said,
her health, you never know.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? Well, go ahead and spoil her. And then I spoiled myself with a brand new Wii U. So
maybe we'll talk about that.
Maybe we will. Maybe you guys didn't know about it. Wink. But
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
I wrote that zombie. I wrote that Zombie U review for Honest Gamers without owning one of those things. I've never even played one before.
So what you're saying is basically you're ready to work in the industry even more full time than you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
what rating are we supposed to give this one? 7.2. Okay, I'll craft a review around that. Let me go to the message board and see some complaints.
I don't know. This sounds like a 7.5 to me.
No, it's whatever the company tells you to do it, so you do it. Otherwise, we'll fire you. GameSpot policy.
You better do that. I already put the money in your pocket.
8.8. 8.8.
No, I was actually referring to Keenan Lynch and the writer who got fired over the review.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking about when everybody threw a shit fit over some Zelda game getting an 8.8.
Yeah.
Jeff Gerstmann. By the way, an 8.8, like, oh my god, it got an 8.8. That means it's an excellent game. Oh, fap.
Never mind that the average Zelda game is like a 7 anymore.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly, yeah.
All right, so how about we get on to these things here? And first things first, as always, we're going to start with some gaming news /topics. And I've only got 3 for you this week. I want to start off again with Grand Theft Auto 5. Since the last podcast, there was the second trailer that came out and gave a little more of an insight into the characters in the game. I don't know if either of you, did you see the trailer?
Yeah, I have.
I didn't see the trailer, but I read about the stuff that's going to be in the game.
And so Zoop did see it.
And
so
that is
then
a huge list, by the way.
Yeah, he'll definitely understand some of what to talk about here. But basically, and he can back me up or counter me on this. But the trailer basically indicated that the 3 criminals that have been shown to be in the game that you'll be controlling will actually intersect and work together.
Basically, yeah, that's what I gathered from it. It's going to be like some sort of some Pulp Fiction type of thing where everything crosses over at some point.
Exactly.
And there's stuff going on while you're not controlling people. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You'll come back to them later, and they'll have gotten into something. And if you switch perspectives, they say you might be surprised to find out what your friends have been doing.
Yeah,
exactly. And the other thing that I took out of the based off of how the characters seem to interact with other characters, like their own little gangs and whatever, is it seems that the 3 archetypes of the characters you've got like looks like a sort of a retired criminal from the East Coast. He's sort of got the Grand Theft Auto 3 sort of, he ends up like running things and in charge and whatever else. And then you've got this really nasty, awful redneck of a guy who's kind of the Tommy Vercetti, Vice City, just sadistically cruel sort of archetype, right? And then you've got a guy who's coming from basically Compton, since this is LA.
Straight out of Compton.
Exactly. An AK-47 is a tool after all. But anyway, he sort of got that San Andreas like mythos, if you will. You know what I mean? Like they've kind of hit the 3
They're bridging
games
the gap.
previous for the type of characters,
Yeah.
if you will. I know the Grand Theft Auto 3 guy doesn't have much of a personality, but since he doesn't speak, but I
that
feel
was
that
Tommy
that
Vercetti, right?
No, Vercetti was Vice City.
Oh, okay.
He was.
Did he have a name in 3? It was like Nico or something, or Nico.
No, that was 4. The guy in
damn,
3,
I'm
I think he was just sort of like your prototypical protagonist.
He was a
You could
blank
just kind
slate.
of graft your own personality onto him, so it felt
Yeah.
more like,
Though
you were
something-
doing it.
Go ahead, Jesse. I'm sorry.
No, I was done.
My favorite thing actually about 3 with the character development was you really didn't get a gist of what your character really cared about until the very end of the game, whenever his his romantic interest is all like, "Oh man, this is going to be great. Now we're going to be together forever," or whatever, and then he kills her or something like that.
Spoilers.
Well,
that's the ending of the game, David.
Here's the thing, though, right? Grand Theft Auto 3, if you wanted to play it, you would have fucking played it by now. It came out in, 2000? Yeah, no. Spoilers, it's all like, spoiler alert, Luke, I am your father.
No, there's a statute of limitations on that kind of thing.
Yeah, after so long, yeah, that shit sort of... It's after so long, it becomes your fault that you don't know. That's how I see it. Yeah, it's...
Well, thanks for putting this all on me. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry,
exactly.
Game Facts moderator hack. I was gonna say hacks, but
Mod hacks.
not hacks. Mod hacks, yeah. We use mad mod hacks. No, habits was the word. They die hard.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, the only other thing I wanted to bring up from that trailer that came out, which has raised a lot of discussion, is dogs. Because there's like a bulldog or something like that type of, maybe a pit bull, something like that, that's in one of the shots where a car is like screeching in, the brakes going, and this dog jumps away from it or jumps over the hood. The question kind of is like, are you going to be able to like find and raise a dog and like have it attack people? And like, how integrated is this going to be, or is this just something they put in the trailer to dress it up? And there's actually been a lot of discussion around that, which is interesting if they actually go the route of, yeah, you can train a dog and it's going to attack people and things like that. I mean, they've shown the ability to do some stuff with animals. I mean, horses.
Well, I've got
Red Dead Redemption and.
I did not see the trailer personally, but I do have here a big list of things that are going to be in the game.
Oh, there's a ridiculous list of stuff
Game
in that
Informer kind of broke that scoop, I guess you could say.
Indeed.
There's going to be a ton of stuff there if you want. If you should want, I can read off it.
Just hit the high points real quick.
Well, the three guys are Michael, Trevor, and Franklin.
Franklin.
They're the whitest guys.
He's a turtle.
This is the
Hold on one second. Trevor is the black guy, right?
Trevor is a former war veteran and drugged-out psychopath, an experienced pilot.
I'm kidding because Trevor is the most lame white man name on the planet. If anyone's named Trevor, I'm sorry, you just got dealt a really lame white.
That
name.
was the preppy dude from James Bond Jr. Trevor Noseworthy. I remember more about that show than I probably should.
Yeah, you probably do.
What else you got on that list for us?
The Compton dude is named Franklin.
That's shocking.
A repo man in his mid-20s described as a, quote, young and ambitious hustler.
Yeah, that's
if he's a repo man, I fully expect a scene in this game where his car starts glowing and he just flies through the air. There are no major actors.
I was thinking the old WWF wrestler, the Repo.
Yeah,
Man.
I was thinking of him too.
I was thinking of the movie with like Emilio Estevez.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
I got what you meant.
Okay. I got your reference as well. We're just throwing out pop culture like there's no tomorrow.
Gotcha. No major actors cast as any of the main characters,
which is good.
So none of that Ray Liotta bullshit.
Which is good. Yeah, that's good.
Heists and bank robberies are a big theme to the game.
Interesting.
That's fun.
When you switch characters, it zooms out to a Google Earth style type thing, which I can see being pretty annoying pretty quickly.
That could be really cool, though.
Just switch. That
could be pretty neat. And if it's doing like a zoom out and a zoom in thing, maybe you'd be able to see hidden stuff or like areas to get into for better weapons or packages or whatever the secret.
Here's the other thing, though, Jesse.
I was thinking like, like it goes out to space and then back in. That's what I was thinking.
Well, I was just thinking like a shot of the city, like, it zooms out and goes back in, or like it zooms out enough that you can hit the other city. There's supposed to be two cities, I think.
Here's the problem, though, Jesse, with it being switched automatically, is that with a game as big as Grand Theft Auto,
you're probably going to need like some kind of
I would much rather look at that than a loading screen for 3 minutes, personally.
That's true.
And also, just to finish a thought on the zooming in, zooming out, changing characters, something I just thought of now, which I'm sure people have thought of, so that it isn't genius at all, but say you get, like, pinned down with one character, then conceivably could you not, like, call the... Like, say you'd have to call them and go, like, yo, Franklin, I'm pinned down here at this place, come get me out, and then you could get the other character to kind of, like, break the police blockade or whatever, you know what I mean?
If he's
like,
not busy with whatever he's doing, that is...
Well, I mean, if they're working together or whatever,
that could be fun.
Conceivably, do something like that.
Well, like I was mentioning here, it says even when you're not controlling them, each character will still go about their own business across Los Santos. I guess that's the city. Says you may be surprised by the situations they find themselves in. Should you switch back to check up?
That could be problematic. It depends on how well the AI is, but I mean,
I bet it's great.
Yeah,
it's Rockstar we're talking about here.
If you switch the AI over and then all of a sudden you have a character who suddenly has the cops on him and you're trying to get a character who doesn't, oh man, he ran a red light, arrest him.
Let's see, there's fighter jets in it.
Nice.
Pedestrians are fully mocapped and more interactive.
Here's my biggest issue.
People, I guess.
Here's my biggest issue with Grand Theft Auto, and by comparison, like with Zombie U, which we'll touch on, that game is very small. It's, you have like several rooms to each area of the game, basically, and each battle, means so much more, so it's the type of thing that each area seems longer because of the difficulty spike. With Grand Theft Auto, I feel like you never really get in touch. This has been a problem with all of the games, except for, I would say, Grand Theft Auto 3. But because of the bigger is better philosophy with gaming and game design in general, you don't really memorize the map as well. You don't really stop and just take in an area and get familiar with it. The stage and the world itself isn't necessarily a character, even though it rightfully should be, especially with a game that big. But if you're playing a smaller game, like let's say like the original Resident Evil is a good example. The mansion is a character. as to where this big open sandbox world, and I realize it's two different things that are, they're hard to compare. But I feel like you almost should be exploring every nook and cranny of a world that big, but it would just take way too long. I think in most games, including sandbox games, there is a less is more philosophy with that.
Well, then you're not going to be too thrilled about this. It says it features the biggest open world in the series history. GTA 5's world is bigger than the worlds of Red Dead Redemption, San Andreas, and GTA 4 combined.
Here's the thing. San Andreas, I wrote the strategy guide for that, for IGN. That took forever.
Holy God, that would take forever.
It took forever.
That game had I thought it had a really cool world design where the cities were small enough you could learn them, but there was enough wilderness and whatever else in between you could explore and have some fun and find some things.
And I feel like that is the apex. I feel like you can't go any higher than that. Otherwise, it just becomes a huge cluster.
It's overwhelming.
Exactly. It's completely overwhelming. I'm not going to scour the countryside in order to find, whatever it is, some Easter egg that I barely recognize. Something like that's just going to be.
You got to shoot that last pigeon.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be entirely too big for me, I think. And that.
Whoever IGN pays to write the next strategy guide, whatever they give them as compensation, as my dad says, it better eat coal and shit diamonds. To be covering a game that big.
I made $250. So, chew on that.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, no.
$250 an hour, right? Right. This was before the dot-com bubble burst, right?
Yeah. This was well after the dot-com bubble burst.
No, I know.
All right, so... More or less, it gives us a good thought on GTA 5. It's a game that looks like it's going to be interesting how it goes. It sounds like a game that probably would have really been better for me personally 15 years ago when I could sit down and play a game like 30 hours a week,
right,
and absolutely shred it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I ain't got time for that no more.
Yeah, me neither. We're old folks at this point. It's kind of sad. But anyway, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Wii U. And
I heard one of you guys
the
got
trend
one
of
of
things
these.
we talked about last time.
Yeah, we talked about it last time, but we didn't. It has since launched.
Yeah, it had yet to launch at the time.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about is all of there's a few things. One, I don't know how it was promoted in the States, but there was almost zero promotion up here on TV or in other media for this launch.
Same here.
So much so that friends of mine who are video game fans, that they wouldn't have bought a Wii U anyway, but they weren't even aware that it launched until stories started coming out about how the problems with the launch. But first things first,
well,
was it promoted sufficiently in the U.S.? Because it certainly wasn't up here.
No, it wasn't. In a nutshell, it absolutely was not.
I literally saw one commercial for it. That was it.
I don't think I've even seen that.
Yeah.
I think I saw a Nintendo Land commercial here and there, but I don't think I saw something specifically saying, the Wii U, anything like that.
Exactly.
If they did say
strange.
something like that, though, they would have sold a lot more units.
Yeah, really, they should just get me on TV just shaking like I got the DTs or something. Wii U!
I was about to say, just pair him up with Michael J. Fox and they can shake those things in everyone's home.
Shake a leg, Michael. I mean, break a leg.
We're
Nice.
so
Nice. We're so going to hell. Anyway, problems with launch. And now, a lot of these, some of it I'm sure is hearsay and made up, but there's a lot of this that was actually confirmed by news outlets for gaming stuff out there. But stuff like, for instance, in Canada, what I'm calling GameStops, but basically up here they're called electronic boutiques for the most part.
EB.
They still have those out in the rest of the world, but in the U.S. that was one place that was eaten up by GameStop.
Yeah.
Like we used to have all kinds of things like EB Games and Funkoland and Babbage's and Software Etc. and they were all kind of just swallowed up under the.
We had all those in
GameStop.
our region too. My favorite was Babbage's actually. I fucking loved Babbage's.
We had a Software Etc. in the mall until it became a GameStop, and that was my favorite. EB Games was pretty great too when they sold NES cartridges in the plastic bags.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Those
a long
good
time
times.
ago.
Continue.
Yes, to go on with this, that up here they like any system launch, they advertised midnight launch, and they sold pre-orders for it. Then a day or two before, they didn't even announce it. People only knew if they asked about when they were opening. They just decided across, particularly in the western part of the country, but a lot of the locations in Canada, they just decided not to do a midnight launch and did not announce it or call people or anything to let them know. So there was that. Followed up to that was that it was on a Sunday, so they weren't even opening up till like noon in most of the country. And it was just an awful, awful way to start your relations and whatever else. And then to even pile onto that, like it isn't bad enough, a lot of the stores didn't get in enough to cover their pre-orders. And some people ended up going to like Best Buys and other places to get their Wii U's. And this is nice by Best Buy, but a lot of them actually honored the pre-order things and actually gave them like a bit of money off to say, yeah, absolutely, we'll sell you a Wii U. We'll knock, $10 off or whatever the thing was, that type of thing.
Magnanimous gesture there.
Well, I think they were doing it to basically say, yeah, we're not Electronics Boutique. We're actually, wonderful human beings. This happened at a few locations. I don't think it happened all over the place, but just to give an idea of like the confusion and just lack of awareness, because I'm sure some of these stores weren't even really, like they were aware, but they weren't really thinking about it. Like this was not a well-planned launch at this end of the world.
No, it really wasn't.
So yeah, another problem that with the launch was that the actual that nice gamepad that they have with the screen and everything in it, yeah, those were like coming out of the box broken. Either they weren't working, or there was a couple that like there was actually like the casing was cracked and stuff like this, like right out of the box, like not the type of thing you want. But
damn those Chinese kids!
Exactly, how dare they? But easily, the worst part of the whole launch was that huge update you had to run, the patch you had to run right away. Okay, first of all, having a 5 gig patch to right on like day one launch is terrible, especially when some people are only buying 8 gig Wii U's. We call those people stupid people.
I bought one.
You're stupid. So basically right there goes, 60% of your hard drive space for a patch. But making that even worse is that if the power goes out or the download is interrupted, that can and did for some people brick their Wii U's. If it got interrupted, it bricked it, made it useless.
Here's the thing, though. Like,
no. This is huge because there was a reviewer who got an advanced, whatever. They get their early copy of the Wii U, so they can get their review out in
for a pretty big publication,
yeah,
right? Like the
for
LA
a
Times.
pretty big publication. His Wii U got bricked. Like you have to write a review, and it's like, oh, the Wii U got bricked. So
I'm sure they were so happy to comp him a second one.
Oh, I'm sure they stumbled all over themselves trying to send that thing down from Washington down to, I think it was L.A.
Ugh.
It's like, oh, God, like, how embarrassing is that when a reviewer has that happen to them? Like, dear God.
My biggest thing with this, and it is inexcusable. It absolutely is. And I'm the last person to defend Nintendo. You guys know that from experience.
Yep.
But here's the thing, though. How dumb do you have to be to not charge the controller right out of the box?
Yeah.
I would do that.
Here's the thing, right? In my personal experience, I pulled my controller out. Oh, yeah, euphemism. I pulled my controller out.
And I pulled my joystick out. Yeah.
I pull out my gun.
I hooked immediately. Like, I turned it on, and it booted right up, and boom, just like that, the little red light started blinking and going, hey, you need to charge this, and it warns you before the patch, hey, make sure that your controller's charged, that way it doesn't die mid-patch. To me, it's just like looking at directions and then spitting at them right in their face.
Dave,
I don't know.
Dave, I hate to tell you this, but my job as a technical writer is to write instructive use of. Well, I do software, but technical writers, their job is to write instructions for people to follow.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how clear and well defined it is. There's a large segment of a user population will not read anything, or they will read it and none of it will sink in.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is it again though that sort of falls back to my original point. It's on the user, not the writer, not the company putting it through. If something tells you to do something, you don't just ignore those instructions and go ahead with whatever the hell you think that you're going to do. So that's
so anyway. Yeah, so that those were the issues or what have you, stuff that popped up around the launch, and really not a good launch for Nintendo at all. Like, yeah, they sold a lot, but this is like the first time I can remember a Nintendo launch having so many problems.
Here's the other thing, too, though, with that. Had I known, well, I would have bought one anyway simply because I needed it for work. But here's the thing. Right now, unlike any other launch in recent memory, especially with the Wii, you can go to my Walmart that's 5 minutes from my house, my Target, my Best Buy, fuck Best Buy, by the way, we'll get to that later. You can go to
I don't think you need to get to that. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, no, it's not, actually. We haven't gone through that story yet,
okay.
And we will. But to you guys it is, not to the listeners. But you can go to any of these big retail chains, Toys R Us, any of them that are 5 minutes from my house. You can go to any of those right now, walk in, and buy a Wii U.
I mean, the Wii was on limited availability for what, like almost 2 years?
Yeah, I remember a year later, I found one for Val's birthday in like January, the year after it launched. The year after it launched. And I found one, and I was tickled pink. I was like, oh shit, they stopped rationing these things. You know? So,
I mean, I remember to get mine, I lined up outside of Walmart here in Canada in November. So let me tell you, that was not a pleasant overnight.
I can imagine.
And they
only
killed
had kittens and unicorns to get to that thing.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. So anyway, since we've covered the problems, how about we actually get Zoop's thoughts on the Wii U, since he's actually played it extensively. I've played a Rayman Legend demo for about 30 seconds. That's my exact experience.
I really love Rayman. I don't know about Rayman Legends. I haven't played that demo, but if you guys can find Rayman Origins anywhere for really cheap for any system, it doesn't matter which one, go out and buy it and do yourself a service, because Rayman. Go ahead, Jess.
Go ahead. I was going to get the 3DS version, but they said that there were frame rate problems with it, and that you should only play it if you're never going to have any other experience.
Yeah, I can
with
imagine.
Rayman.
That's usually the problem.
So that kind of put me off of it, but I really want to play Rayman Origins so bad. Rayman is at an all-time high as far as, figurative stock price.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say something that is just absolute. People will think it's hyperbole. It's not. Mario is dead. The new Mario is Rayman. You can bank me on that.
All right. That actually, from what I've seen of Super Brothers games, they aren't really trying to innovate at all, which is fine. But the Rayman Legends bit I played looked interesting and fast and fun.
It's challenging. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. The level design is just miles above any Mario game that's been released since Super Mario World. In terms of the
problem with
in terms of the 2D Marios, of course, not including those are two different beasts.
Yes, absolutely.
And whenever I say Mario is dead, I mean the 2D ones by comparison. The 3D ones are alive and well.
Yeah, gotcha. With the 2D Marios, the problem with those is, they're not trying to do anything new with those. They're just trying to remind you how great all the old ones were.
And it just makes me want to go and play the old ones.
Remember Mario 3? Remember Mario World? Remember everything that was cool about those games? We did it again.
Yeah,
you like it?
Yeah, exactly.
Not so much.
It was better the first time.
Twice.
It was better the first time,
exactly.
And I'm just going to go back and play the originals. That's my big issue with it. And
I know that the first world in Mario Wii U is called Acorn Plains. It's like the naming of the world. It's like, oh, they brought that back from Super Mario World. Like, levels have actual names. They're not these nondescript dots on a map, and that's pretty cool. But it's like Acorn Plains. It's just like, oh, yes, plain. That's the word. That's the operative word here.
It really is. It really is. It's
like, at least in Mario World, they waited until the second world to bring out the plains.
Exactly.
It's like, here, we got to show you Yoshi. This is really cool. We'll get to the plain land in a second, but we got to show you Yoshi.
Yep.
And now it's like, plains, grassland, never seen that before. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
My biggest problem.
I want so badly to like those games, and they're just so not great.
Just blah.
Well,
yeah. No, I wouldn't even say blah. They're just, as Jesse said, they're not great. And we expect them to be, because spend all their time harping on how great Mario used to be, and that time that they spend harping on that could better be used showing us why Mario was great, showing us why Mario is great. But
like, to the extent that they do anything new, it's like, hey, look, we can make pipes diagonal now.
That's exactly it. It's like, hey, we gave Mario one new costume. And it's just like, okay, well, that's nice, I guess. It has the same functions of the raccoon suit, but okay, whatever.
Whereas a series that I can always expect a fresh experience from, just for comparison's sake, is Kirby. Like, I just got Mass Attack in the mail. And that game is da-ba-ba-ba-ba-bomb.
Yeah, I ended up getting Mass Effect before I went on a trip, and it's Kirby always does something really fun.
What?
Really
Mass Effect. I don't remember. I don't remember
Commander
Kirby
Shepard,
being in that current person.
Swallowing them. I'll get the power to control the Reapers if I swallow one.
Oh, wow. Oh, God.
But more to the point, though, Kirby always does do something innovative and fun and different, and that's the key word, actually.
Like, one
different.
game that nobody talks about that is awesome is Canvas Curse, the first Kirby game that came out for the DS at the launch.
That's not true. I actually saw a guy who started a series on that on YouTube not that long ago, but he quit doing it.
Yeah, he never finished it. What a pussy.
There were sound technical reasons for that. Thank you. And anyway, when I played my actual copy is glitched. It won't load the boss fight after World 6. It just boots me back to the stage select screen, so I can't finish the game. And I was planning to 100% it.
Perhaps we may have a topic later on in the show about games we haven't finished.
Interesting.
Perhaps. A little bit of foreshadowing there, Jim.
All right, so Dave, any other games you've played for the Wii U?
Yeah.
We'll probably move along here, because we do have a lot to cover
we have a lot to cover. I'll go through this with bullet points. Mario starts off really fun, and then it really drags towards the middle. One of the things that lured me in, actually, was the Van Gogh stage, and I thought that would be like an entire world. There is a Boo stage in the new Mario where it's Van Gogh's Starry Night in the background, and like as you progress, it has this Doctor Whovian type of influence with like the exploding TARDIS, only instead of the exploding TARDIS, it's a gigantic Bowser basically, and it's really really cool. And I was hoping that would be like an entire world, but instead it's just like a one-off stage, and then it's back to...
Nintendo tends to do that. Any awesome thing that you've ever seen in a Mario game, they only did once.
Exactly.
Guys, I will say this. You know where that started? The Angry Sun in Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was going to say Mario
levels.
3.
Yeah.
It's in 2 levels, and one of those levels you can skip it if you go down a secret thing.
And I always did, because fuck that guy.
Yeah, when you're trying to climb a hill against that guy, forget about it.
With piranha plants and note blocks over a bottomless pit. Anyway, we're off topic. Continue with your bullet points.
The Mario game, though, it's the type of thing that you pretty much need it if you're getting a Wii U, because the Wii U launch lineup in terms of exclusives is pretty barren. I haven't played Nintendo Land yet. I just got that in the mail the other day, but I've had a lot of issues with my house to contend with. Being an adult is not fun, ladies and germs. Then Zombie U. You can read my review of that at honestgamers.com.
But the synopsis you could give in 2 sentences or less?
Yeah, with that, basically the gamepad. I haven't played a game yet, and I'm sure Nintendo Land will change that. I've never played a game yet, though, where the gamepad actually factors into it that much. In Zombie U, you can like scan the entire room in real time and like find where zombie locations are, so you can like prep your RG3 run of the course, if you will, to try to get away from everybody who's trying to come after you. But other than that, it's like, unlock this door by taking off the bars on the door. Tap the screen a bunch of times.
So you become the master of unlocking?
I know, right? It's kind of funny. I nearly made a reference to that in the review, but I kind of figured it would be too obvious. But it is fun nonetheless.
Oh well, I'm glad to pick the low hanging fruit for you.
Yeah, well, you do love my low hanging fruits. But I mean,
good night, everybody.
The thing though about the gamepad is, it's all like, take the bars off of this door to get in, to access it. And what you do is you tap the screen. It's like, okay, you're just going to tap the screen a bunch of times. I did that so many years ago. I did that in 2004 with the Nintendo DS, right? So,
yep.
So
right, yeah.
it's just treading old ground to me. It's old hat.
Yeah.
The one thing though, I'm not entirely down on the hardware. I think the hardware is pretty cool, actually. One thing that I love is it's taking social media, and you can follow certain gamers. And right now I'm following some chick that draws some really cool stuff on the gamepad. And
yeah, and that's something I've seen with New Super Brothers Wii U is that people can leave signposts and pictures and stuff that you can get through the Miiverse.
Exactly. So there's like this social media integration with games, and it's really cool. I honestly really like it. It makes me excited. Whenever I beat a level, I can go, the third star coin is hidden, and you have to access this pipe in order to get it. And I can take a picture of where I am in the game to show people, hey, this is where this is. And in a way, I mean, if other gaming companies, if history tells us anything, other gaming companies are going to steal this from Nintendo, and rightfully so.
And make it better.
I was going to say, at this point, they could probably do it better.
Yeah, that's the other trend. But if other game companies can steal this from Nintendo and take it as their own, we might see the death of game FAQs and guides and strategy guides in general. And
quite
the
frankly,
commercial strategy guides you will see go the way of the dinosaur eventually.
Exactly, but this is really going to hasten
stuff
that.
It'll survive for a while yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's really going to hasten that. That's something that I really like, actually, is the social media integration. And it's nothing new. Dark Souls did it last year, to where you can leave markers in-game to warn players of a boss or an enemy that's really tough ahead, things like that. But while I was playing Zombie U, and I'll close on this note, I was you look for safe houses basically, and there's shortcuts that lead to the sewer system, which leads to the safe house. And there's markers. People can take spray paint and graffiti walls basically to access these safe houses. And of course, there's just a big maze. Some areas will lead to a safe house. Others will just lead to a big pack of enemies that you're going to have to take out. And having this graffiti on the wall, you can either trust or not trust what the player is going to tell you. Some people can go, oh, there's a safe house this way, and then you lead yourself right into a big pack of 5 zombies. And in that game, 5 zombies is instant death. That's what
I understand.
2 might be instant death. 3 is going to be
I
instant
assume
death.
somebody at this point has tagged a wall with El Barto was here, right?
The thing is that it's very vague because it's going to be translated over to Japan and things like that. So you can only communicate with icons at this point. And the safe house icon is a prototypical white bread 1950s suburbanite house. And
because what's safer?
Yeah, exactly. What's safer than being in white America? Oh, I love being a Republican in 1950.
All right. So, on that note, how about we move on to our final gaming news topic thing of the podcast, and that is for the Wii Mini. Now, I know that Jesse knows something about this, but Zoop is saying he doesn't know about this. Basically, the Wii Mini, so far as I know, this has not been changed. The Wii Mini is a small Wii that is going to be...
It's like a Wii Slim.
It's a Wii Slim, but it's basically it's the same height and thickness as the Wiimote. It's just a little wider than a Wiimote, that's all. But like the height and the depth of it is going to be the same. So I mean, it's tiny. The second thing is it's going to have no internet access.
Yeah.
Is insane. Dave, we're only getting started on the insane part, okay?
Oh, typical Nintendo.
The next thing is
internet.
it's going to sell for $100, so it's barely cheaper than what they're selling the Wii's for now. But are you ready for the craziest thing?
I don't know. I
Since you don't know-
think the internet access is the craziest.
Let me guess.
No,
Let me guess
no,
what
no,
the
no.
craziest thing is. I think I know.
Okay, go ahead. What's the craziest thing?
It doesn't play GameCube games.
Well, no, it has no backwards compatibility. That's not the crazy thing.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I was
play
gonna say,
Wii games!
That's pretty expected, though. Every other game system doesn't have backwards compatibility.
Yes, but here's the crazy thing. As far as I know, right now, it's slated for release in only one country. One. You know what country that is?
I was going to sing the Canadian national anthem, but I'm sorry, I don't know it.
Oh, that's too bad. It's being released in Canada only right now. Why? People don't know. The theory is that they are going to use Canada as a test market.
That's what I was
Because
thinking.
Canada is basically the United States, but it's 1/10 the population.
Because they'll buy anything. They drink Molson's.
No,
They'll eat any old piece of back bacon off the ground.
But
They'll eat
think
this shit up.
about this. Think about this, okay? Christmas is coming. You're going to release this in Canada before Christmas, and you're going to do a little drive to sell this stuff, and it's 1/10 the size of the U.S. market. And if it goes well, like it sells really well, then you can go, okay, we can release this in the United States now, and you do a run that's 10 times the size type of thing, and you're basically going to sell them. It makes sense. You're using Canada as a large-scale market test.
So what's the baffling part?
That's just baffling to me that it's Canada only. That Canada. When does Canada get Canada only releases of anything? When does that ever happen? The
Sounds
answer
to me
is
like you should
never.
be a little more grateful.
I know.
I've already got a Wii. Why the fuck do I care?
Because by
But
all
you know-
accounts, it's a slick-looking little box.
Yeah, but it has no internet access, man. That's
Here's the deal
Says
breaker.
the guy who doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah, well.
Here's the deal breaker, though, guys. No internet access. In today's
nobody's
day,
going to go for that.
here's the thing, right? I know what you're thinking. No internet access. That means you can't play online. Okay, that's one portion of it. Games nowadays require patches. There's game-breaking glitches right out of the box for a lot of games.
Yeah.
And if you're unable to download those things, guess what? You're going to buy games that are broken. You're not going to be able to finish some of these games.
Dude, you can get onto the internet on your 3DS.
Right?
Why would you release a box that plugs into your wall and takes up your television that can't get on the internet at this point?
You can even get on the internet rather shittily, mind you. I'm coining that phrase now. You can get on the internet even rather shittily on the Nintendo DS. I've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But so that's the weird. Like, as bad as the Wii U launch was, this is just even more crazy.
It's kind of
Samurai
bizarre.
Jesus
I
in
don't know
center
why they
field
would
here.
release
It's
a thing like
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really, really dumb.
So anyway, we should get moving along here.
Yeah, we should.
Because we definitely spent a little more time on that than I thought we would.
Yeah, we did.
45
pretty much,
minutes for news.
This section is called Jesse's topic.
All right.
Zoop and I have no idea what this is, so Jesse, take it
All
away.
right, yeah, you don't have to have anything.
Gay
I'm not going
porn.
to put you too terribly on the spot here. But recently, let's see how recently this was published on November 15th. There was a study done. You know the new like minimally invasive robot arm surgery things?
Kind of.
Sort of.
Okay, well they have like there's a little bit more of this down here in Texas because they're doing like University of Texas medical type stuff, research with it. But they have these robotic arms that you can do surgery with now that you can control for super precise procedures and stuff that, you know, a big old meaty human hand might have trouble with.
Yeah.
And they did a study, and they found that people who play video games about 2 hours a day, 2 to 4 hours a day, can control the robot arm better than the resident surgeons.
That's not shocking at all. You know what else?
It's not
They
shocking.
kind of temper it. They say like, but if you put them in a non-robot situation, the surgeon's like, boom, I didn't kill that guy on the table. What about you? so it's like you know, maybe we need to think about, you know, new methods for teaching our surgeons. You know, make them play video games so they can be good at the robot arm.
Also,
You know,
the
not
one
necessarily
thing-
saying that we should start hiring gamers as surgeons, but
The one
know.
thing, though, they're also much better at masturbation.
Gamers or doctors?
Gamers. Doctors don't know how to do that.
In fact, several
they make
took
good
the liberty.
money. Doctors make good money. They don't have a need to masturbate. As we were gamers, well, we don't really make that well of money.
In fact, it wasn't in the article, but I'm pretty sure many of the study test gamers took the liberty of masturbating with the robot arm, just as kind of an end zone show off move.
How many times do I get the opportunity to do this? I'm doing it right now, bro.
This is like something out of my fan fiction.
It's so cold and metal.
Did
But no, that got me to thinking.
Jesus.
I had to bust out the Merry Christmas voice. You mentioned it, actually. You mentioned it somewhere. And you said that we'd have to bust it out, so...
Hey, everybody, boys and girls, how are you doing? You want to come down to my basement? We'll play some games.
There you go. There you go.
You know what's really scary? Zoom, just to quickly cover this and then let him finish his thoughts here. But Merritt actually posted on the social board like a week or two ago about the Wii U launch.
No shit.
Yep, about the Wii U launch.
What was he looking for? Princess Peach production still?
I was gonna say he's still gunning for Super Princess Peach 2.
Oh God, you know he is. That was the day that he never left his basement.
Officially. Anyway, let's finish up your thoughts here. Back on topic.
Woof. Okay. But anyway, it got me thinking, with the gamers being good at the robot arm and everything, being like, in your face, money-making surgeon.
Yep.
What do you think that video games have made you better at that you otherwise would not be? So, how's it made you a better person in ways that otherwise you would not have been?
Okay, hold on a minute. A better person or better at something?
Better at something, better in certain ways, whatever you want.
Okay, this is really, really shallow, but I'll tell you this right now. I consistently amaze my wife when she'll try to throw a Kleenex into like the waste bin from like a foot away and miss. I can drill them from across the room, and that's purely hand-eye coordination from my days doing video games. Plain and simple.
I absolutely disagree. I think that had to do with your college basketball skills.
I never played college basketball, my man. Come on.
I played Pee Wee basketball.
It was a thing called a joke, and you just fucking ruined it. So thank you, bro.
I'm sorry.
Though I will say, that makes for good story time. I played Pee Wee basketball in 5th and 6th grade, and I scored, over the course of 2 seasons, 2 points total. I made one basket in 20 games. I was paid $10 for making that basket. We lost the game 72-10, but you would have thought we just won the NBA Finals. Nice. Like, the other team their team actually had, like, legit licensed jerseys that were, like, the Heat, and we're, like, the Sanger Indians, and they're just looking at each other like, what? Why is everybody cheering this fat kid? It's like he finally learned to hit the square with the ball. That's why. You'll never understand.
Slow motion cheering. Everybody starts to slow
That's probably.
clap.
Well, I was going to say that's probably the saddest childhood story I'll ever tell on this podcast, but not by a long shot.
My saddest childhood story that I'll ever tell on this podcast is. It actually has to do with this topic. The thing that I got from gaming that I wouldn't have had otherwise is the ability to read.
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah, the ability to read. I grew up...
This is a great story.
It is.
I grew up with a strange childhood in terms of upbringing, and I couldn't read or write until I was, I really don't know, 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that.
How far up did you get in school before you?
First grade. First
grade education.
First grade was it, and then I was yanked out, and paranoid parent is the best way to describe it. Pulled me out of there. Thought that she could teach me the homeschool. Could not, and I was pretty much on my own. For one of the more I played games, the more I learned how to spell and read and write and all that good stuff.
It was Chrono Trigger that did the bulk of the teaching you how to read.
The bulk. It upstarted the desire more than anything. I wanted to comprehend. I loved the colors. I loved the characters. I loved the battle system. I loved everything about it, and I wanted to cherish.
You just wanted to understand.
I wanted to cherish every aspect of it, and I could make out at that point. I could make out most words, but for Christmas one year, I asked for a dictionary, and then I sat there with the game, and anytime there was a word I didn't understand, I would go through the dictionary. This is before the internet, kids.
Of course.
I would go through the dictionary. The most frustrating thing that I can ever remember, actually, even to this day, is going through a dictionary and looking at a definition of a word, and then finding another word that you don't know what it means, and then digging through the dictionary to find that word, and then finding another word that you don't know what it means. So by the time you eventually, it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but with definitions, basically. And eventually you dig down that deep until you're, 8-9 words in, and you totally forget why the fuck you even tried to begin with. You're like, what was the original word? I don't even care now. I have so much knowledge in my head. But now, that was it. I'm still really bad with certain subjects because naturally, math is easily the thing that's my Achilles heel.
I went to school and I'm terrible at that. So don't feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like other subjects that I picked up on my own. I'm always interested in history and things like that. I love reading now and everything else. So the gift of being able
literacy.
to read, write, literacy. Exactly.
You fell right into my trap. I knew you were going to tell that story.
I was going to say.
That's why I picked that topic.
It's true. Also, this is the first time I've ever admitted that to anyone besides friends or dearest colleagues that I've had to fight necessarily my whole life in order to do what I love, which is writing. I love writing. There's nothing.
Yeah, I could make shots into a wastebasket.
Very well.
Thank you.
Very well.
All right.
Well, there you go. There you have
do
it.
you want to cover one real quick there, Jesse, and then we'll get moving here?
Oh, now we're expecting me to do this.
Yes, good idea.
Well, how have video games made me better? I would say I analyze video games more closely than I do anything else. I think books maybe got me started on critical analysis. Like, I probably read more highfalutin books than your average gamer, I might say. But video games are the thing that really made me want to take them apart and unpack them.
So
expand those skills.
So you're saying you got your analytical mind because of video gaming?
Yes, that was the only thing that I felt like applying it to, even as a kid.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
I mean, good thing that panned out, because, if there had been another crash, God knows what I'd have done.
Yeah.
I guess I'd have just read and become a constructive member of society.
There you go. All right, so the next thing we want to move on to was old Nintendo Power articles. And actually, this would be something there'd be a theme song for, because these things are an endless gold mine of awesome.
Yeah, we definitely need a theme song for this.
What is today's issue?
Today's issue is March-April 1990. On the cover is Super Mario Bros. 3. This is the one with Mario holding a gold coin, and there's the angry sun and one of the Koopa kids. There's a pile of gold coins there, and there's a chain shop. It's a clay
I love
model,
the clay
if you will.
covers. They're always
they're
great.
pretty sweet.
Yeah, they are.
And for today's topic, I actually want to just read off the top 30 for that particular issue. The top 30, in case you didn't know, was compiled by votes from players, pros, and dealers. I'm not sure how there's that
Drug
many
dealers?
pros out there. Dealers, as in
Drug
drug dealers, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or the people who run game stores, one or the other.
Nah, nobody cares.
So yeah, pretty much.
One and
So
same.
just to I'm just going to read this to you from 30 all the way down. Once we get to 10, I'm going to read you the little blurb they write about each game, because starting at 10, they write something really brilliant beside each one. So some of these games, there's no way they should be anywhere near a top 300, let alone a top 30, but, whatever. At number 30 is Wheel of Fortune. There's
Rented
one right
that
there.
once. It's not good, but I rented it. Oh,
Then
those
there's-
old Game Tech games.
And then there's Jordan versus Bird 1-on-1, which is an awful, awful basketball game. It is terrible.
If Val were awake right now, she would start screaming quotes from that game because her brother played it nonstop.
Nice. And then a game that is so quality and deserves much love and respect. Baseball Stars.
Oh, yes. That's probably
Awesome
the best
game.
baseball game on the NES.
It's either that one or there's one where you could do you spend points for power-ups for pitching and hitting. That game was pretty sweet too.
AKA
I
the
can't remember.
steroids game? No, thank you.
And then there's Batman, then 27 we have Batman, which is a good game but
The
hard.
original Batman, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. I had it. That was one of the 10 games I had when I was a kid for the NES. Before my parents sold my NES because I had rage and obsession issues.
That's true. You did. We have heard your.
You still
Well, I don't
do.
know.
I may have
You'll
the obsession issues, but I'm pretty much past the rage.
I don't know. You sounded pretty you sounded pretty angry earlier whenever you were discussing those people cheering you because you were fat and playing basketball.
No, wait, now what? Did I?
No, you didn't.
No, I'm fucking with you.
Okay.
I
26.
mean, yeah, you totally did.
God damn, you people. Oh, you need to roll with the punches. Jesus Christ.
Nice. Number 26, a game I've never played, but I hear nothing but admiration and respect for, which is, I cannot even say the damn thing, but it's Nobunaga's Ambition.
Yeah.
It's like a
it's a
strategy game.
strategy
I've
game.
never played it. It's supposed to be a lot of fun.
I've never played it, but I hear good things.
Apparently, there's a Pokemon game for the DS starring Nobunaga. It's called Pokemon Conquest, and everybody says that game is amazing. It's just real time. It's like old school feudal Japan strategy with Pokemon characters.
Dear God.
It's weird as hell, but
That sounds like it.
But
And then number 25, only 10 points ahead of Nobunaga's Ambition, is RoboCop, which
Wait,
is
was
not
that-
particular.
was that
Not
one of the
particularly
ones that
good
had
game.
the Tim Fallon soundtrack?
I don't know.
Okay.
And then we have goal, because there's an exclamation mark in there, so you got to say it like you're Spanish
the
or
name of the
like
game?
Mexican or something. What's that?
Is that the name of the next game? Goal?
Goal. It's a soccer game.
Oh, okay.
And then we have Paperboy, which is a fun enough game on the NES, not as good as the arcade, of course.
Right.
California Games, which is crappy but oh so fun.
California
Personally.
Games is... Yeah, it's something. I might be
And
thinking
that-
of Caveman games.
And then at 21, and I'm expecting some booing and hissing here, The Guardian Legend, which is... there's some problems with that game.
I'm not familiar with
I am also not familiar now.
Wow, okay, well, you'll have to look up some stuff on The Guardian Legend. There's some problems with that game.
We will.
Let's just leave it at that. Number 20, are you a bad enough dude to know the name of this game?
Bad dude.
Hamburgers with Ronnie?
Very good. I don't know which of you it is, but one or the other. Then, of course, 19, we have Contra.
It's always good.
Always great.
Yeah.
Then 18, we have one of the two best hockey games. It depends who you ask which one's better, but this one's Blades of Steel.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I'm personally a
The
big
other
ice
one
hockey
is,
fan,
the
but
what's the other one?
ice hockey.
Okay.
But I know why
prefer
people-
Blades of Steel personally.
A lot of people prefer Blades of Steel,
Yeah.
and I understand
Yeah,
why,
I do.
but I have a soft spot for ice hockey.
Yeah.
Maybe because I hold a world record in it. Oh,
Oh,
buff the nails.
Oh!
Look at all
Somebody
those
tune his
veins
man
bulging
horn.
out of your member. Oh.
Exactly. and then we have a game that it's one of those that it could have been better, but it's still pretty good. Strider
Yeah. No. It's
could have been
That
better
rings a
with
bell.
yeah.
better translation. A few
Capcom,
other things
yeah.
would have been good, but 16 we have Metroid, which back then that's probably fair, but that game is one of those games that's a classic, but it did not age well.
I always like the remake on the Game Boy Advance. I
Yeah.
think.
Zero Mission.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zero
they did a
Mission.
good.
That
They
was
did a good
great-
job. with
That's
that.
a bucket list game for me. I need to play that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's excellent.
At 15 we have Faxanadu or Faxanadu, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
You're the only person I've ever seen that was good at that game.
I'm not very good at that game. As you will soon see in the upcoming classic moment, which is me failing at jumping in the game.
Well,
There's a-
still. You're
there's
as
a
good
lot
as
of that.
anybody I ever saw.
And at 14 we have Mega Man, which
Yeah.
The first one.
I honestly did not enjoy. Yeah, the original. I did not enjoy that
I
game.
It
loved
is
it.
definitely the least of the original 6.
I
Absolutely.
absolutely love that game, and I like that game more than I like Mega Man 6, actually.
Huh,
Yeah.
neat.
I could see that, but I like 6 a little more.
Yeah.
And at 13, we have a game that you can beat in 3 or 4 minutes if you know what you're doing. Marble Madness.
Yep, that's a good game.
Here's the thing, right? Marble Madness, I was watching someone beat that game, and I saw them beat it in like 5 minutes or something like that, and I just wanted to punch the dick off a billy goat. I got so angry. You have no idea how frustrated I was as a kid playing that game. I could get to like the third world, and I would just... Oh my god. I was so angry. And then to see somebody just do it like it's nothing. It's just like, oh god.
That's like people who are good at Battletoads.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah.
At number 12, a staple of anyone's NES collection, Tetris. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I was associating it more with the Game Boy, but, you know.
Well, there is that too, yeah, absolutely.
Tetris is one of those games that ends up on best of lists that should more accurately be titled most historically significant lists. Because I guarantee you, if you ask anyone what their favorite puzzle game is, they're not going to fucking say Tetris. Unless they've played 3 games in their life.
I actually prefer Dr. Mario to Tetris, so...
Yeah, there you go.
Everyone always lists the original Super Mario Brothers and Tetris, and neither of those games are excellent. They are
Super Mario Brothers, I like to compare to the Grateful Dead. They were good in their time, but they were way outclassed by everybody who came after them and did what they did.
Immediately came after them.
Yeah.
All right, number 11, just outside of the stupid blurb category, we have Bionic Commando, which is a good game.
Yeah.
Good game, yeah.
But
yeah, I like it.
There's some nasty design in that game, but a good game overall.
It is, yeah.
So
number 10, outside of the box.
Yeah, true. No jumping, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Number 10, we have Tecmo Bowl, and are you ready for this? Football season may be over, but that hasn't stopped Tecmo Bowl fans from passing the pigskin.
Oh, God. Is that a euphemism for jerking off?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Gotta go pass some pigskin.
And at only 17 points ahead, at number 9, we have Disney's DuckTales.
Yeah.
There's a lot more here than quacks and bird brains, and people are flocking to this great adventure game.
You know the guy who wrote that, and he's like, yeah, I did it. So many people are going to look at this and make a podcast about it and go, oh, that was brilliant.
Dude, what's a podcast?
He's thinking ahead of the future, man.
Whoever wrote that was a real literary featherweight.
Oh, I heard it. I got what you did there. I saw it.
Ninja Gaiden at number 8. Great action keeps this one in the top 10. From what we've seen of the sequel, it will be up here too. That's actually a pretty good thing. I can't make fun of that.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Nintendo Power. You ruined the bit.
Yep.
Super Mario Bros. 3 is number 7. You've played it on the Play Choice 10, and now it's coming home to your NES. This is just the beginning, and that's not a lie. Do you remember the commercial they used to promote that game?
What game?
Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh, okay. Was it the one with where all the people were staring around going, Mario, and then it zooms out and there's a big Mario face on the planet?
Yep.
That commercial is awesome.
That's an amazingly well thought out commercial.
I did play that game on the Play Choice 10, which sucks.
I did too, but after it released.
And then in Mario Galaxy, you go to that Mario Head planet.
The Legend of Zelda is at number 6. Zelda's been a hit for years now, and for video games, like dog years. That's really something!
Oh, God. Was there ever even a dog in a Zelda game?
No.
Somebody will prove us wrong, don't worry.
Yeah, they will.
Well, there is, probably, but whatever. There's horses.
If you count the moblins in the Zelda cartoon, they looked like bulldogs.
They did, totally. Number 5 is Dragon Warrior. Olive Guard is a difficult test even for the mightiest warrior. This game makes the grade as well. That doesn't make any sense. The grade?
That's dope.
Makes the cut?
This game totally makes the gradius. Whoops.
I get it. Zelda 2: The Adventure Link is number 4. Nobody knows how many Links are currently stalking the enemies of Hyrule, but it must be a lot. See, that's just them foreshadowing about the split timeline and the infinite timeline
it's obvious
potential.
What that is. I think you've also found the only instance in history where Zelda 2 was ever ranked higher than the first one on something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, pretty much. At number 3 is Super Mario Brothers 2. Mario, Luigi, and friends continue their second-grade adventure in style, holding on to third place. Apparently, the bronze medal, also known as the Canadian Medal of Honor, is holding on in style. All right.
I thought for a second you said second-grade adventure. Like Mario and Luigi still shitting their pants even though they're 8 years old. And then I was like, oh, second grade.
At number 2, we have Mega Man 2. Dr. Wily's bag of robo-tricks is still full of surprises, like moving up to second place.
I've turned a robo-trick or two in my day.
Well, you know who else has turned a robo-trick or two?
Huh.
Those gamers that were testing out those surgery arms.
Yep.
You're getting better at this comedy thing. You're doing callbacks. I know what you did. Yeah.
And at number 1 is a game that you'd never ever freaking guess, unless you really thought about it hard in that time of development of popular culture. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is in first by a lot.
The first one?
Yes. Still in first place, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles packs comic book fun and adventure into your NES.
Yeah, I guess.
There's at least 2 things wrong with that sentence.
Fun and adventure.
I was going for comic book fun, but yeah, fun also qualifies.
It packs something into your NES, that's for sure.
Just looking, they actually break down the votes for the different games. And like, there's some games that get votes that aren't actually, that make the list. Like Mickey Mousecapade was number 30 on the dealer's picks. That it wasn't on that list, for instance.
I love that game, by the way.
Players' picks and dealers' picks both had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at number 1 with a lot of points. And the pros gave Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles barely any points. It's way down at 28. But the players' and dealers' points were more than enough to carry it past everything else. Just hilarious.
That's good marketing.
Yikes.
Oh, ironic.
Well, if the pros aren't going to play our game, then I guess we'll just pump it up.
Yeah.
Mega Man 2 got like nothing from the dealers. It got like 26th.
That's funny.
Sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I guess we should move on to...
I mean, it wasn't the best Mega Man, but whatever.
We're not getting into that conversation. We don't have all day.
Mega Man 3. That's my favorite.
Yeah!
Boom!
Yep.
You gotta be
Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 is a good game. All right. So
Virtual fist bump over the line.
Boom!
Listen, you guys can suck one another off later.
Well,
Let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah,
You can suck my Snake Man any day.
You're making me hard, man.
Jesus Christ.
All right, go.
Guys, seriously, stop needling me. We got to move on here. So,
Do it.
This podcast is a shadow of its former self.
it's only the second episode.
I think we've lost the spark, you guys. We're just not as magnetic as we used to be. We're never gonna top this. Gemini.
Gemini. I think you just threw. I'm not gonna fit this in. So, Gemini.
Our best segment yet. So good.
Mad oh mad. Something Doc Robot. Okay, so seriously though.
All right.
It's time for the Iron Sheik Tweets of the Month.
It's time to read the best Iron Sheik tweets of the past 2 weeks. All right. So I'm going to make this brief because I know we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to read off 6 Iron Sheik tweets. Here is one of my favorites. Fuck the AOL.
That's it?
That's it. Just
nice.
Fuck the AOL. I'm wondering what AOL did. Like, what did they do to piss off the Iron Sheik right now?
He's still holding on to all those free CDs.
What did they do to get in the news in order for him to, like, acknowledge that they still existed?
They were probably
obviously he went back home to Iran and was visiting family, and
that's all they have.
They tried to use the infidels' internet provider, and it didn't work.
Or no, AOL featured an article that was like, "Listen to the new Chris Brown single," and he was like, "I won't stand for this."
That is a good segue, actually, Jesse.
Yes!
You set me up very well on that.
Yeah, no problem.
This one.
You're rooting it.
This one. Chris Brown deserve to get me to beat the fuck out of him and move to Homelessville forever.
Homelessville. Apparently the Bubs have formed a town.
Homelessville with a capital H. Everything else, including Chris Brown, is in lowercase. Homelessville. It needs like a little trademark at the end of it, you know? Homelessville. This was my personal favorite. I don't know who Gene Chizik is, but he just says, and here's how it goes, Gene Chizik or Gene Cheese Dick.
Just so you know, he's a soccer coach.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know anything outside of that. Yeah, that would be why.
No, he's not. He's not a soccer coach. He's
Slappy
a
Squirrel.
Coach.
Now that's comedy.
No, he's a football coach. He's the. I think is he the guy that coached like Auburn or something? I don't know. He was on Grantland this week. I read something about it, but I read a lot of Grantland articles.
So he was like a college football guy, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But all we really got to know is that he's a cheese dick, so it's not important.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, if it is the guy I'm thinking of, he's fired. So yeah, he's just a cheese dick.
He's a cheese dick now. Yeah? That more or less sums it up. Let's see. In this one, he mentions a corporation or a company or brand, what have you, by adding them. That is he mentions them where you can actually click on their name, and so in other words, he referenced them and they saw it. Is what I'm getting at. He goes, the Jenga, which is what it is. Yes, the board game Jenga. The Jenga, too confusing for the Lindsay Lohan.
I would put that on the box to do the advertising.
I'm hoping that they're paying him in just like Jenga board games for this. He had a bunch of good Lindsay Lohan ones, but I think my favorite one of the week. There's so many. This one might be my favorite, just because it comes out of nowhere. And I'll explain who both of these people are after the tweet is over. Aladdin smell worse than the King Kong Bundy ass.
Well, I know who King Kong Bundy is.
Aladdin is a Disney character.
Okay, it is. Okay, I wanted to check if that's what it was.
That's literally what it is. Aladdin smell worse than the King Kong Bundy ass. King Kong Bundy was a main event wrestling star in the mid-1980s who has since become a bad stand-up comedian.
I didn't even know that about him.
Yeah. That's the be-all, end-all. I looked it up.
Aladdin, the street rat, the jabroni.
He just gets on these rants about just random things, and that's I don't know any other way to say it, but that was the Iron Sheik segment.
Fucking.
Well
done. Zoop, since we gave you such an open space, you did so well. How about you give us the classic old school game chat? You're going to talk about a game for us this week. I think it was Chrono Trigger on the Sega Genesis, if I recall.
Loved it.
Let's see. I'm going to try to use my my vocal prowess to give you a hint as to what this game is by doing the title screen, basically. Boop doop 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 doop. Derp derp derp. Jesse, go. Do you know what it is?
I feel like I should.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Oh, that sounds so familiar.
Was it? I'm going to take a total stab in the dark. Why do I feel this? This is the wrong answer. Was it Kid Chameleon?
It was not.
Ha.
No. Think funky.
Oh, I'm close. I'm close.
Oh, okay.
It was ToeJam and Earl.
Boom!
Yeah!
You got it.
Yeah.
ToeJam and Earl.
It had a very Genesis kind of funk to it, so...
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was very bassy. It was great. And
Genesis did have good bass.
Well, it had its limitations.
Right.
The amputee isn't going to win any jogging contests. But the thing is, though, that I love about, beyond just the music and everything, was the co-op. In my opinion, ToeJam and Earl was, at least back in the day, the be-all, end-all of co-op. Because it had randomly generated levels, and you could go like 10 levels without getting a piece to your ship. And then all of a sudden it's just boom, 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 boom. Nothing but pieces for your ship.
It was kind of like if Will Smith and a roguelike had a baby.
Yeah. It was so much fun though, because it was so strange. They were on planet Earth, which looked nothing like planet Earth.
Yeah, it was just disconnected islands like the world of ruin.
Exactly. And the soundtrack is so good, and the loading screens, I know they're not loading screens, but let's face it, they are. The transitional screens from one stage to another were like this background to like this, I don't know, DJ Jazzy Jeff music video. It's just like spray paint splatter on a white canvas in the background, and it was such a period piece, I guess you could call it. It's one of the first period pieces in gaming history, in my opinion. Good, because of because it's so out of its element. And I know this because they just released it on the Xbox 360. And it's the ToeJam and Earl 1 and 2. 2 was awful. 2 was absolutely dreadful.
2 was just a plain old platformer.
It's a boring piece
and it
of
took
shit.
a dive for it.
Exactly, but the first one, though. The first one was
first
so
one's a lot of
good.
fun. I like how you work your way up from, like, you start off, like, rank-wise, you're a wiener.
Yes,
and you move up through the ranks, you're like a Poindexter and you're a doofus, and then you eventually work your way up to, like, Rat Master Funkaplex or something. Like,
you absolutely do.
I like the ranking system.
Hey, guys,
yeah.
If I may, I'm just going to put this out there for the listeners who are subscribed to me on my channel. If there's any interest from people, put in the comments, yes or no. Do you want you said it's a co-op?
It is a co-op, yeah.
Do you want Rudy and myself to take a shot at this game? I've never played it.
You haven't played many Genesis games, period.
Oh my god. You gotta play this game. It's so much fun. My favorite thing, too, is there's sand tornadoes, right? But as a kid, I always thought it was like cheese tornadoes. I always thought that it was just this big tornado comprised of cheese that would swoop you up and take you off to some delicious island where you could have mac and cheese all day. And usually what the tornado actually does, though, is it swoops you up, carries you off to a portion of the map where there is no portion of the map, and drops you to the stage that you were below, in which you fall on a little tiny island with no way to get back to the main island, so you have to jump down to the stage below, in which you fall down, and it's just a giant pit, so you end up falling down to the stage below. It's like one miscue in that game can just lead to utter terror. I was playing it online with my good friend Reed the other day, and I'm waiting in the elevator. There's at the end of every stage, you have to find the elevator in order to progress through the game. We found the elevator, and he was on his way to me, and this invisible car just starts running him over constantly. And then this woman in this cart with this kid in her cart starts chasing him down, and she just screams at the kid, "Shut up! Shut up! You're being loud! Shut up!" And I'm just thinking, there's like nothing that describes America more than like angry parents telling their kids to shut up in shopping carts.
That was a great thing about the game, was the enemies in it.
The enemies in it were great because it was such a jab at society, you know? And
it was one of those weird, like, like you got like hordes of roving dentists.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It was fun. And the mailboxes that come to life and go, "Oogie boogie 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 boogie." And you're like, "Oh, leave me alone."
This is scarier than Splatterhouse.
You know what's funny? Splatterhouse was going to be my callback game until I got ToeJam and Earl. Weird coincidence that you brought that up.
Damn.
Yeah.
Save it for another week, because those are good games.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a great
gentlemen,
game.
something that it's near and dear to everyone's heart here. A question or a topic we got from someone on the Facebook fan page, my Facebook fan page, not anyone else's, because I'm more popular since Zoop lost his channel. Anyway,
and I'm just not popular. Period.
Yeah, I'm hardly a big fish. Anyway, The topic of the week. We're going to make this kind of a thing where we take one thing from like email,
guys. I gotta tell you though.
Messages, whatever.
I gotta tell you though. I gotta answer this and then run.
All right. Well, then we'll finish up without you after this.
Yeah,
okay,
that works.
Too bad. But the topic of the week is
right?
game.
I trust you.
All right, we can do it.
Okay.
I'm just assuming you want to duck out on the shout out "fuck you" of the week. That's okay.
No,
That's what I was thinking too.
Topic of the week. Game you could not finish, and why? And I guess we'll let you go first, Mr. Runny McRunpants.
Well, I blew my first answer earlier in the Kirby thing because I was saying my Kirby Canvas Curse was glitched, and I can't finish that. There are various games that I've never finished. There's kind of a trend, actually, among games that I don't finish. I will get to near the very end of a game, and then I will stop. Like, I will get to the last dungeon or so. Like, this usually happens in RPGs. I'll usually get to the last area or so. And I don't know what it is. I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I don't think like, oh, this is the last area. It's going to be so hard. I can't do this. I can't face it. I don't do anything like that. But I don't know. Sometimes that's usually the point when I start petering out on a game. Like, and if I can make that last push, that's the difference between a good game and a great game to me. Is I feel like making that final push. Like, one game that I did that on, that I really remember doing that on, is Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
I did that too.
Which is an easy as hell game.
Well, I will tell you that I gutted my way through Partners in Time, and I will never play it again. It took me over a year to get through that, and I just pushed and finally beat the last boss. Like, I had to force myself to play it, and it was like, this was not worth the effort.
You know, like?
No.
Not at all.
Partners in Time, I did not like.
You know what's so funny, though, Jesse?
What?
I have just this myriad of games that are RPGs to where I get all the way to the last dungeon, and I just don't finish it.
Yeah.
Included in this is Final Fantasy VI, which is a absolutely phenomenal game.
Well, you got farther than I did.
Start to finish. I get to the Kefka's little island deal, and I can't do it. I think it's because I like the game too much and I don't want it to end, so I just never beat it. Then on the opposite spectrum of that, Final Fantasy VIII, I never beat that because it's too fucking hard by the end because they
level up with you.
The brilliant developers decided that the more you level a character up, the higher the difficulty will be. Well, Mr. Brilliant Developer, why the fuck should I even do anything? Why don't I beat the game as a level 10?
Yep.
You know, so that was, and beyond that, that's a terrible game anyway. It's a really bad game, and if you like that game, I hope you get cancer. No, I'm just joking. I don't know if you get cancer at all.
Dave,
Damn.
I will say this. Steve McFadden loved that game and did have imaginary stomach cancer for a while. So.
Yeah. He also gave Yoshi's Island a 1 out of 10. And by all appearances was completely serious.
Well,
he was a wonderful troll at times, was he not?
That was his legacy. But I digress. 2 games that I really wish I could have finished. Illusion of Gaia, I never finished, and
Me too.
I love that game.
I can see
all
not
the way.
finishing that game, though.
I really love that game all the way up until, I guess I got about 75% through it, and then I never really, I don't know if I just lost interest or if I came across a puzzle that was too difficult. I don't really remember. The other one, though, is, and the one that really breaks my heart to this day, Super Mario RPG. I got all the way to the final dungeon and ran out of healing items with no way to exit the dungeon to go purchase more.
Brutal.
Yep. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I would leave and get immediately trampled by enemies, and just there was no way to win, so I had to quit.
I stopped and quit Mario RPG once, but then I rectified that mistake later.
Yeah, it's a great game. It really is. And it's too heartbreaking to pick up and play now, because I'm like, damn it, I made it all the way to the end.
Well, the games I want to talk about, shockingly, come from the NES. I know. Shocking that I would talk about games from that system.
Old man.
3 games, actually. 2 of them are in the same series. I've never played the third one in this series, but Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden 2. I have never finished either one. I've made it to the
I can
last
understand
boss form in both.
Those are really hard games, though.
They are really hard, but it's the last bosses that get me. I can handle all these stupid platforming. I could probably still beat 5-3 and 6-3 on the original.
Yeah.
Like, if I sat down tonight, I'd probably have to continue on World 5 or 6 2 or 3 times, but I would have it back, because it's ingrained into me. But those bosses, I just can't handle. I don't know why. And the third game of the list to add one that I've never beat, and I've come close a couple times, and if I sat down and worked on it even tonight, I could probably beat it, but it's just beaten my soul down so many times. Castlevania. The original Castlevania.
That's a soul crusher.
I have been crushed by that ugly blue-winged monster at the end with like one tick of life left on him so many times.
Yeah.
I have only beaten one Castlevania game, and that was Symphony of the Night. That's the only one I've ever beaten. I lose interest.
It's another bucket list game for me.
Well, the only one I've ever beat is Castlevania 2.
Yeah.
I've never played enough of 3 to really claim it. I've never played Super Castlevania 4. And I only ever played Circle of the Moon of the Metroidvanias, and I found it really boring.
Yeah, the Circle of the Moon. I take that back. I beat that one. So I'm a liar. I beat that one and Symphony of the Night. Those are the only two, though.
Your integrity is ruined forever.
I know. It really is. All right, Brian, did you have anything to add? Because we need to get Jesse in this for the shout-out or fuck you.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
so
I'll do my shout-out. I have a shout-out.
All right.
And actually, you know what? This will be our last topic of the week here, because there's not a whole lot of LP talk-through chatter going on.
Yeah, I ain't got a... I got a shout-out. I ain't gonna duck out like some weenie.
Do it.
ToeJam Earl.
My shout-out goes... This is gonna sound kind of bad because it makes me sound like a corporate kiss ass. But my shout out goes to Amazon. I ordered.
Amazon's pretty awesome though.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, that's a company whose ass you feel comfortable kissing because
right? Yeah.
Because I love what they do. They do it every time, and it always makes me happy. You order something, and they give you a time frame, for when it's going to get there. But it's the worst case scenario time frame. So when it gets to you, quote unquote, early, you are artificially happy to have received. And this is even with Super Saver shipping. This happens. Like you expect, since it's free, it's going to take longer. That's just kind of a sacrifice you make, but it always gets there. Like I got 2 3DS games. Or I got a 3DS game and a DS game with a gift certificate recently, and it said it was going to get here between November 29th and December 6th, and I got them on the 28th, which is just it was like completely outside the time frame, and it never fails to like just give me this endorphin rush of happiness.
It's like going to a restaurant and they go, oh, it'll be 30 minutes, and then 15 minutes in they go, yeah, we can seat you now, and you're just like, oh man, they pulled some strings for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, I got a jet pretty quickly here, but that is my shout out, and I might as well just say that currently I'm playing Sonic Classic Heroes on YouTube. It's a hack that combines the team configuration of Sonic Heroes with Sonic 1 and 2. It was pretty sexy cool at first, but it's not as great as it sounds in retrospect.
Yeah.
And then I'm also very slowly plugging through Shantae.
Nice.
Which...
All right, man, get yourself out of here and we'll wrap things up.
All right.
Jesse's going to miss something big that I'm going to drop a bomb on later on, but...
Don't worry, he can probably listen to it later
I'll
on the podcast.
Yeah, I will download it myself. I will inflate our numbers. I'll download it like 100 times, and then everything will be cool.
But you'll know, so what good is that going to do? Anyway.
Right. So,
later, Jess.
So, peace of the Middle East.
Laters.
Really?
I guess. I was just trying to make things rhyme.
Okay.
All right. Well, see you later, everybody.
No. Get out.
For my fuck you of the week, it goes out to Best Buy because my washer broke, and we bought a new one for $700 with installation and delivery, and we also paid extra to have them haul our old washer away.
Which is smart.
Which is smart because they'll go and they'll recycle it, and I'm all green and shit. I'm like Kermit the Frog.
And you don't have to haul that thing out to the curb and wrestle it around. It's a good plan.
Exactly. And Best Buy drops off the new unit, goes, oh, we can't unscrew that hose on the faucet. We'll get in trouble if we do, so we can't install it. And then they go, oh, you have 1/2 of an inch of sitting water in your washing machine, so we can't haul that off for you either. Okay, bye, and then just leave without fucking doing anything. They also hit my fucking tree in my front yard with their delivery truck. How dumb do you have to be?
And they raped a baby down the block, too, which wasn't very cool.
Well, I don't care about that. That's
okay, fair.
They can do whatever they want to do to little kids. I don't care. But yeah, don't ever order anything through Best Buy. They're just terrible people. And my shout out of the week goes to my friend Van Newell, who sent me a package filled with Moon Pies, Zapp's chips, and Bud's Best cookies. All flavors of the South in America. And he also included some wrestling literature. And if there's two things I love, it's wrestling and literature. And it was such a nice...
Those are usually two words that don't go together.
I know, right? And but it was such a nice gesture, and I wish I could afford to do something similar for him this time of year. But again, I'm the type of person who never forgets, and that was a really nice gesture. And it's almost all the snacks are gone, and I am gonna have diabetes, and I'm gonna die because of him. So thanks a lot for killing me.
Shout out of the week. So just before I get to my shout out of the week, I have to talk about two things. One, I've only ordered one thing from Amazon.com before.
Yeah.
I order everything else from Amazon.ca. I love Amazon.ca. It gets stuff to me ahead of time, gives me that artificial feeling of goodness when it gets here early. All the stuff that Jesse talked about. Yeah, absolutely. Amazon.com can go die in a fucking forest fire. Okay?
Is this your fuck you of the week that's going to
we'll
combat his shout out of the week?
This story is 4 years old.
Okay.
I have never shared it online. So yeah, fuck you of the week to 4 years ago of Amazon.com. I wanted to order a DVD set for my father for Christmas, and I wanted to get it online. And I found the best price was on Amazon.com. So I found out I could order it, and they would deliver it to me, and it would only be a small cost of, I have to pay like taxes and stuff for it crossing the border. But it was still going to be cheaper than anywhere else in the States is still paying those taxes.
Right.
So I order this. It's a 10 greatest games of the New York Giants in the Super Bowl era, basically.
Okay.
It's like the 1986 playoff, the 1990 playoffs,
right.
The 2000 playoffs, even though they canceled the Super Bowl, at least I wish they would have, and the Super Bowl 42. And I was going to get this for my dad to make up for the fact that I bought him a DVD set for the Road to 42, and I just kept it for myself like a few months earlier when it was his birthday.
Right.
So I was making up for it by getting him this other stuff, right? And I order it, and it's supposed to be delivered to me within 2 weeks.
Right.
3 weeks go by, it still hasn't cleared customs. It's stuck in customs. That's not Amazon's fault.
No,
That's
but
fucking crazy customs bullshit. But
right.
then they tell me that it's been delivered and signed for to my address. And I go, I have not signed for anything. My girlfriend, now my wife, has not signed for anything. What the fuck are you talking about? And they go, yeah, here's the signature right here. And they sent me like a PDF whatever thing of it, the signature, which I think is not regular procedure, but okay.
Yeah.
And I check, I'm like, yeah, that's not my signature, that's not her signature. And I said, what address did you deliver it to? They said, we delivered it to this address. The address is out far past the east end of Ottawa in a little community that's like a little French community out there. It's basically like a little satellite town. How they decided this is where they were delivering it, I have no idea.
Did not match the address, huh?
And I said, okay, well then what's the procedure? And they said, keep in mind, I'm going to my parents within 3 days.
Yeah.
To go for Christmas. Like, this is late and already under the wire.
This is in-game shit, yeah.
This is fucked, and then I say, well, it's going to have to go back to where it came from, and we'll send it out to you again to the right address. And I'm like, the fuck you will. and I said, can't we do something about this? And I said, couldn't you call them and go, oh no, it's already been signed for, so it's down as delivered. If they got the wrong package, they have to tell us it's the wrong package. And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. And they out of the thing they had scanned to show me the signature, the name was on it. So I thought, I'll look up the name online in a phone directory thing,
yeah.
and I'll track them down. I tracked this person down, a nice woman and her husband in like their 50s. He's a government worker. She works from. She, like, you know, raised the kids and is a housewife.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, my husband works downtown here. Can you meet him between this time and this time? And we worked it all out and everything else. And I called up Amazon. I said, good news. I have tracked the person down, and we've worked out where I'm going to go meet them, and I'm going to get the package from them, so everything's going to be fine. They said, you can't do that. I said, why not? Because they just called, like, say 10 minutes before I called her and reported they got the wrong package. So paperwork got started, so it was no longer their possession. It belonged to Amazon. If they gave it to me, we could all be charged for, like, stealing and whatever else, right?
What the fuck?
And I yelled and screamed at this person. They said, you want to talk to my manager? I said, I want to talk to the highest person you can get.
No
and we
shit.
went through the whole thing, and they basically like, no, it has to come back here, and we'll send it out again. We're sorry for the delay. We know Christmas is in a few days, and I'm like, I'm losing my shit. I'm at work, and I'm yelling at them.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my headset on. I'm just fucking screaming, and like, this is my first year on this job. I've only become full-time a few months earlier. And like, I should not be, and I'm like, fucks and shits, and my boss comes over, it's like, hey, you gotta calm it down a little, right? And they finally say, well, we can hold it at the delivery thing here at the airport if you can get out there to the airport. And I'm like, okay, fine. They said, but you have to get there in the next hour.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, fuck. Yeah, like, I'm working from home that day, and I tell my girlfriend, now my wife, I tell Jessica, and we jump in the car and we race out there. There's a fucking accident that's blocking off the direct road access to the airport. We had to go around, and I'm like running in. I'm like out of breath and shit because I had to, like, I jumped a fence because we would have had to wait another 10 minutes to drive around. I'm like, jump their fence. Like, this is a barbed wire fence.
God.
This is like, I didn't cut myself, but I managed to get my coat over it and whatever.
Jack.
Basically, yeah, and I get it, I'm like, they're like, what? I'm like, because I'm like out of breath and dying, because I'm out of shape at this point, and I finally go work it out, and I get the DVD set, and I give it to my father, and he pops it in on, you know, a month after Christmas, and yeah, the first disc doesn't fucking work. So, fuck you, Amazon.com.
That is probably the most fuck you worthy thing that we'll ever have on this segment.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And my shout out of the week is to the active members of the Brisulph forums. I really appreciate how much you guys have been just driving activity on there the last couple weeks. The podcast has helped. It's really generated some discussion, but a lot of fun topics are popping up right now, and I just really want to give you guys a nice shout out for all that.
That's a fun place to go. I just recently started going over there due to the podcast, and there's a lot of good community members over there.
And just as the LP talk through chatter, I've been busy and not doing a lot, but things are going to move along here. Legend of the Ghost Line is going to finish up as soon as I can finally get time to film it. Then we're going to go into Sumer World. I'm not sure we're going after that. Sumer RPG is going to move forward, so Dave, I'll let you know when I reach the end.
Ooh, I'll be able to finally see it.
There you go, and hear me be snarky over the top of it.
It's true.
And yeah, I'm just working on some things for that, so it's a good time. Same as before, guys. If you guys want to contribute anything to like artistic stuff like logo, you want to do some music, you know anything about iTunes and how to work on that, let us know. If you have any questions or questions and stuff, just be sure to drop a line to myself or Zoop or Jesse. And yeah, that's about it.
No, it's not. You didn't ask me what I'm doing for talk-throughs.
You don't do talk-throughs, do you, Dave?
I might be doing talk-throughs. If someone wants to get me a capture device that can withstand the distance between my computer and my television, I'll be doing talk-throughs.
Oh my! This is amazing. Is this the announcement you were talking about?
This is the announcement I was talking about.
Holy
the game is
shit,
Spelunky.
snacks.
Spelunky on the Xbox 360. It is an Xbox Live Arcade game. I'm addicted to it right now, and it would make for the best talk-through experience.
Nice. Well, Dave, we'll have to see what people can do about setting up such a thing, or we can figure out how to get you something. I mean,
yeah, if somebody has some old hand-me-down thing, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Same as how I
just
tell
hit
people,
me
you're
up.
not buying me a new system, and you want to give me your old one when you get a new one? Yeah, I'll take that.
Exactly. If someone has an old hand-me-down, and the reason I'm asking for it, it's the fucking holidays. I'm broke. I'm spending my money on other things. If you want to hear me do talk-throughs again, then send me something. That's basically what I'm at. I'm not being all like, oh, I want you to buy me this because I'm too cheap. No, if you want to experience it, then if you buy it for me, I'll do it for you.
Fair enough.
That's how it goes.
And on that note, guys, this thus draws a close to the Shadow of Its Former Self podcast. So we will see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed it.
Bye!